Hey guys and gals, Nary here from Drake Wayne Gaming. Some of you me on Twitter, The Gaming Dragon. Today I'm coming back at you with another Let's Play episode of Violet Memoir, Lucas's Path. So y'all, let's go ahead and just jump right back into it, shall we? I am playing the latest updated build. I am very excited to see where Oscar's path goes. I'm going to be doing Lucas's path until the current content is finished, and then I'll move back to Oscar. But anyway, y'all, let's go ahead and jump right back in. Alarm Chan, you are up, and let's go. Alright. It's a weak attempt to steer the conversation away from Lee, but I hope it's enough.
Me neither. Just seeing where things go, maybe I'll find my true passion hidden somewhere.
Lee's voice breaks through the tension stronger than mine ever could. When I look towards her, her eyes aren't focused on the group, but on mine exclusively. There's an understanding between us. She's trying to help me out. Thankfully, it works, and the others bring this attention back towards her. My attention is still on Lee, though. He's looking back towards Lily, but there's a distance there now, like he's not focusing at all. It fades as the conversation goes on and things go back to normal. Oscar is constantly teasing Lucas or me, taking any opportunity to touch me somewhere. Lily only laughs and sometimes goads Oscar into some banter. Lee ends up telling Oscar off whenever he tries something, Lucas following him up with a deadpan insult that he always immediately regrets. That continues even after our meals arrive. It's nice and I feel happy. Happier than I've been in a long time, and there's guilt there because how can I be happy? How can I sit here and have friends? How can I laugh with them? How will I ever deserve this warmth that flows through me whenever Lucas presses up against me? That satisfaction I feel whenever he relaxes against me. After everything I've done, after every mistake I've made, how can I sit here and be happy? Oh, you need a hug, boy.
Mom, you're never gonna believe this. So Quinn took me out to this cute little cafe nearby, and then we met him. This absolute hunk. I'm pretty sure his biceps are bigger than my head. His name is Conrad, and he plays on the football team. He's a linebacker. I don't know what that means, but he's built like a truck. Gwen told me that Conrad's single and doesn't even go out with guys to bars. He said he doesn't like hooking up with random girls. Such a gentleman. His mom is a movie star. You remember Diane Hughes? She plays Melanie in Lady Fox's Silks. I got the total jackpot. It's sad, isn't it?
Lily's intruding voice is enough to startle me, but she places a reassuring hand on my shoulder, instilling a feeling of calmness and familiarity. It reminds me of when my mother would give me a hug whenever she'd accidentally bump into me with her tail. She stopped doing that after Marcus.
Can you step back? Your smell is very distracting.
That catches both of our attention, and we look over towards the rest of the group, all of which are standing around a computer. Well, grouping them together isn't quite right. Lee is standing off to the side, a glower across his face as he stares towards Oscar, who is almost towering over Lucas, who is seated in front of the computer. For his part, Lucas doesn't look upset, his attention never leaving the screen despite his scrunched-up nose. Oscar stands up straighter, putting more distance between himself and the fox. It's not a huge distance, but Lucas does look less tense. Thankfully, he doesn't look offended, not that I think he's capable of being so. Well, there's an entire computer lab in the library. There's still individual computers scattered amongst the bookshelves alongside a moderately large table, likely for those who want to work with a group or with privacy. Lucas wanted somewhere more private, but I think we would have to use this place anyway, unless we wanted to awkwardly cram around a tiny little booth. The main area has rows of computers for anyone to use, but there's just a small booth for each one, leaving the work area very small.
Very cute.
Lily's voice is so quiet that I don't think I've heard it in this area of the library. Lily's voice is so quiet, I don't think I would have heard it if this area of the library had more students. Which one?
Lucas, obviously. I didn't think you can call the other two cute.
Despite how quiet she's talking and the distance between us, I catch Lucas's ears twitching, the insides flushed a darker pink.
I don't know, I think Lee and Oscar are great too. Of course they're great, but Oscar's hot and Lee's handsome, not cute. I don't think Lee would like you calling him cute.
With Oscar no longer invading Lucas's personal space, Lee's now leaning forward to see the screen, occasionally muttering something. They're speaking in such low volume that there's no chance for me to understand what they're discussing. I hope they're able to find something more about each of the victims. Lee's words cause my eyes to linger on the three attractive guys in front of me, and it takes effort to force myself to look away. My mouth feels dry, and I hope it's not from gaping. Surely I wasn't drooling over them. Let's get back to the diary. My voice squeaks out such a high tone that all the boys look over towards us for a moment before returning their focus back on the computer screen. That's the final straw that causes Lily to crack, covering her mouth to muffle her laughter. The others don't manage to pick up her giggles, or they don't react if they do. I'm sure Lucas is trying his hardest to just ignore the two of us. I think my head would explode if they stared at me again. You read the next one. I'm gonna enjoy the eye candy a little bit longer. Unlike you, I don't think I'm gonna have a chance. I don't know how to respond to that, so I just ignore her and get back to reading. There's a surprising amount of ripped pages throughout the book. Is this something she consistently did herself? When did she rip them out? Was it when she made a mistake and wanted to redo it? But there's many paragraphs that have been crossed out too. They have something in them she wanted to forget? Most of the entries are filled with typical average daily life. That sinking feeling I felt when I first read starts coming back to my... Red starts to return, forming a pit in my stomach. The juxtaposition between how happy she sounds in this compared to what she's done is just disturbing, a little sad. Wait, this one mentions Conrad again.
Hey, Mom! Conrad finally texted me again. I was kind of worried he was gonna flake, but he got back to me. He wants to take me on a date. Quinn is trying to get me to wear all this expensive stuff, and it's like, calm down, I can't afford this. She's still making me wear these super cute earrings, little pink stars and a moon. It's so adorable, I want to scream. Mercy says she's going to tag along and make sure I'm okay. She wouldn't listen to me when I told her it's fine and Conrad's a good guy. He could roofie your drink, even though we're going to a restaurant, not a bar, but you know how Mercy is. He'll be going on Thursday, which is 2 days from now. I'm really excited. That's cute. I remember going on my first date, when we went to the movies and he tried sliding his hand up my skirt. Turning my attention towards Lily, I'm unable to stop myself from gawking at her. Her only response is a laugh and a pat on my shoulder. It's okay. Well, it's not okay, but that's boys for you. Before I can stop myself, my gaze slips towards the 3 guys looming over the computer. Lily doesn't miss that regardless of how fast I bring my focus back to her. You'll be fine. They're not the type of guys to do that.
Okay, Lee and Lucas aren't the type of guys to do that. I'm pretty sure it's a part of the deal when you go out with someone like Oscar.
Part of the deal? Well, yeah, he's a jock who clearly wants to get in bed with you. I'm pretty sure he'd rail you down one of these aisles if you asked. Okay, let's change topics.
I causes her to burst out laughing, loud enough to catch the attention of the boys. They look towards us with a curious expression on their faces, except for Lucas, who's looking away with the flush across his face. I don't know if his ears are just insanely sensitive or if he's trying to tune out Oscar and Lee by listening to us. I have a feeling it's the latter.
Fine, we'll switch. What about you? How was your first date?
I force my ears against my head to hide the obvious flushing that's about to happen. I pray it doesn't peek through my fur on my cheeks. There's a large amount of proof there, but they don't hide the prominent red color.
I've never been on a date before. I've never met anyone gay before coming here. You'll be getting a new experience. That's great. And I think any of these guys will certainly be something interesting. Don't be afraid to sleep with them on the first date. They're very yummy, and I know I would.
Lily, you are a bad girl. I bet you're a wild child. A choking sound comes out of my throat, and I must sound like a flustered teenager. I mean, I am 18, but I'm an adult now.
I'm not sleeping with one of them on the first date.
In an act that I can't tell if it's condescending or just her trying to comfort me, she places her hand on my back and rubs in a circle like you do with a small child to calm them down. I hate that it works.
You're so cute. I remember when I was a shy virgin. I think once you get a taste, especially if it's Oscar, you'll burst out of your shell. I know it. I'm reading the next entry now.
I left the book towards my face with such fervor that I almost smacked my nose. I'd happily take that trade. Anything to get me out of this conversation. I managed to avoid it with my mother, but somehow this feels even worse. But I'm surprised to see another ripped page where the next entry should be. There's been a couple so far, but it's always so jarring to come across. It gives the book an almost morbid aesthetic, a fitting aura considering its history, I suppose. Moving to the next page, there's an entry that's already started. It looks like it's about the date with Conrad, but the entire first part is missing, starting us right in the middle of an entry.
That was a little strange, but he's a really nice guy. If he didn't look like he could carry me in one arm, I would have never guessed he was a football player. I don't know what he did to make Mercy so against him. He was so sweet, especially to her when they met. She definitely knows something that she isn't telling me, which is really weird. I thought we told each other everything. Why is she keeping things from me? Whatever it is, I'm sure it's nothing. Conrad's a good guy, and if he does anything weird, I can drop him on his ass. Can't wait for him to call me back. Flicking between this entry and the one before the rip, I can't help but feel like there's a massive gap of information. Just what caused these pages to get ripped out? Did she do this? Before I thought it might be entries she wanted to rewrite, but she only ripped half of this one out. Did she want to forget it? What happened to elicit such a reaction? But from the description here, it didn't seem like the date went bad. An idea pops into my head and I look up towards the rest of our group. Lucas isn't even looking at the screen and is arguing with Oscar instead. I can't make out what they're talking about, but Lucas clearly isn't happy. Well, arguing isn't the correct term. It looks more like he's scolding her or lecturing him while the otter just smiles at him, unfazed by the stern glower on the fox's face. Lee is looking utterly exhausted. He did bring this upon himself, I suppose. I just asked Lucas if he could look up anything interesting regarding the incident, and Oscar followed him. Oscar and Lucas alone is probably a bad idea, so I can't fault him for tagging along to make sure things don't turn into a nuclear war zone. I'll have to thank him later. Lucas, can I get you to look something up for me? The speed that Lucas rushes out of his seat and comes over to our table is so sudden that I have to stop myself from jumping. Looks like he wanted to get out of that situation as fast as possible. The others don't take too long to join us too, though neither of them sit down like Lucas.
who has taken one of the 3 seats across from Lily and me.
Yeah, what do you need?
There's a strange shade to his voice, as if talking is exhausting to him. He doesn't look upset, if anything. He looks more comfortable now. It's more like all this interaction is draining him of his energy. It's weird seeing Lucas so uncomfortable in the library after yesterday. I know he had that massive blow-up when we came here for the first time, but the peaceful way he slept on top of whatever book he was reading still lingers in my head. I don't think I'll ever be able to forget the image of his eyes burning bright against the sunset. I must have been staring for too long, because he looks away towards the wall. The others catch that, and there's a collective raise of eyebrows. So I cough to try and break the tension. Do you think you guys can look up more about Hell and his friends? When I looked things up before, I only got the basics. The nodding he gives in return is skittish. It might be best just to look up only a bit more before leaving. I think he's reaching his limit soon enough. He deserves a break. Lucas isn't the only one affected by the look of it, as Oscar also seems just as restless. He's irrelevant but coy. He's irreverent but coy. And it looks like he's actively trying to force conversation. Likely all this work and no play isn't fitting for someone like him. I can talk to the guys on the football team. Most of them don't go to the gym, but I know a few guys there that do. We can't do that right now. Lee's voice is firm but not unkind, like a parent telling one of their children no. It's just a small jog. I think you guys wouldn't even notice I'm gone before I'm back. I'll be there and back in a flash.
It's hard to not notice when you're here, when you're as loud as a fire alarm. So obnoxious and insistent.
Like usual, Oscar doesn't look offended by Lucas's comment. It's hard to tell if Oscar just doesn't understand he's insulting him or just chooses to ignore it. Maybe he just thinks it's cute. Actually, I think that's exactly it. He looks towards me and gives me a wink. It's lacking any form of subtlety, making his intentions with the fox as clear as day. The sigh that Lee releases in response says more than any words could muster. Hey, plus I might show up without a shirt. I always prefer working out shirtless when I can. Don't wear a lot when swimming, you get? Would probably cause too much of a distraction. Oh, Oscar, you big hunk. Give me a kiss. No, okay. It's Lucas's run. No. Bad Nary. Arms. No. Twink it is. Lucas makes a struggling whimper and looks over towards me with a panicked expression, but there's a hint of something else in there. I think the blush showing through his fur is a sign that there's parts of him that don't entirely disapprove. Oscar grabs the hem of his tank top and begins to pull it up before he's stopped by a sharp voice, the tone cutting through the air. Oscar! His smile only grows, but he concedes and lets go of his shirt. He offers a shrug towards me like he doesn't understand what Lee's going on about, but I don't think anyone is buying his innocence. That breaks the tension between the group, and I can feel myself relaxing again. Looks like everyone else has as well. Oscar works in strange but effective ways. Lee decides to speak first, and I'm thankful for that. I've never been good in social situations, so it's good to have someone to help with them.
I think it'll be best if we talk to them another day. I think looking up more about them is a great idea. Just make sure you're being respectful and don't pry too deep, okay? I'll be fine.
Lucas gets up and walks a couple steps back to the computer before he stops and turns towards Oscar. His whiskers are twitching, and it looks like his whole body is twitching. He looks nervous.
Do you think you can help me? I'm not very familiar with sports. That's never been something I've been interested in. Too brutish. I prefer books to legally beating other people up. He crosses his arms and looks to be digging his claws into his sleeve. His ears are pressing down hard against his head, and he's looking everywhere except towards us. But what catches my eye the most is the way his tail just loses all life and hangs limp behind him. I think he's embarrassed with himself, maybe even angry. Oscar isn't having any of that, and he slides right up next to the fox. I'm expecting him to press up against him like he does to me, but he only gives him a smile and a light pat on the back. The touch is respectful, and that's something more shocking than I think anyone expected. I don't think anyone's more surprised than the fox, though. His entire body pricked up as soon as the otter got close, but now he just looks surprised. There's no words as they walk towards the computer and sit down. Lee follows along behind them. The way his ears are perked up is the only thing that betrays his surprise. As soon as he arrives with the other two, he's back to sighing when Lucas and Oscar are back to bickering about personal space. There's a warmth to their argument. It's not friendship, but there's less of a distance between all of them. All of us because I'm a part of them too. We're all together in this as classmates, as friends. If Helena had friends like this too, then why did she end up the way she did? What exactly happened? It just doesn't look like something she'd do under normal circumstances. But then again, people are capable of awful things. Terrible, cruel things that can completely destroy someone's life. Even a single mistake can completely ruin everything. Yep. The next couple of entries are short and simple. Just quick updates about her life. Just the regular ordinary days of a college freshman with absolutely nothing spectacular mixed in.
Shopping with Mercy, they have a weekly tradition of getting iced coffee and drifting between stores. Funnily enough, Mercy doesn't actually like coffee, so her choices tend to be super flavored. Going to the bar with Quinn. If it's a good night, then Quinn ends up heading off with some guy and Conrad takes her home. From the sound of it, they go out as a trio often, even as a group of 4 if Mercy tags along. Things with Conrad are going slow and steady, the occasional date and text but nothing more. He hasn't even made any moves on her. They're taking their time with things, though it does sound like he's being a gentleman. But then I come across an entry that catches my immediate attention.
Happy birthday, Mom! I just got off the phone with you and I just had to write right now. I'm sorry I couldn't get you a present, but I wouldn't even know how to ship them to you on time. But I'll get you something when I visit home. It's strange not being home for your birthday. We can't go out to get your nails done today. I think that's a first in like 10 years. Mercy and I are going out later today to get them done. I'll make sure to send you a photo of them. I know you'll send one back. You better not get those neon green nails again, though. They're so ugly. I know things have been hard lately, but I want you to know that I love you more than anyone else. There's no way I'll never let someone hurt you. I'll call you again later, I promise. It'll always be just you and I against the world, no matter what. So just keep being so strong for the both of us. It's a poignant silence between Lily and me, the weight of that entry hanging between us. I know she's reading it along with me. The only noises piercing the somber atmosphere is the quiet bickering between Oscar and Lucas. It's comforting reading it with her. It's not like the other night. It doesn't feel like it's suffocating me. Nothing particularly bad has happened in the diary so far. In fact, the tone has been pretty upbeat, but that just makes the sickly feeling in my stomach worse. Like she can sense my thoughts, she reaches a hand over and takes my own. There's no spark. It's completely platonic, and somehow that's everything because that means I have a friend. Someone who sees me as only a friend and likes me for me. Thanks. It's no problem. We got to be there for each other. We're almost in the adult world now, and everyone isn't going to look out for us anymore. So, it's up to us to help each other out. The feeling of her claws through my fur brings back the memory of a summer vacation long ago. My mother's claws scratching the back of my ear as Marcus bandages up the graze on my knee. He hugged me and they never let me go, until I stopped crying. Pulling my hand away, Lily sits up straight and gives me a smile as I close the book, content for one day. The deep violet of the cover is forever burned into my brain by this point. All done? The real question screams out louder than the one said. It says, "Are you okay?" That is the question, isn't it? The whole diary is weighing down on me. Stopping would be the best choice. Yeah, I'm fine. I think it's a good place to stop. We learned a little bit. Let's hope the boys found something better. I think back to the last entry in the diary. Something about that last entry felt a little strange to read. I feel like there's definitely something up with it. She had a good relationship with her mom, but I feel like there's something wrong. It's probably her dad. It catches me off guard. I did consider that possibility, but I didn't think she'd be so brash about it. What makes you think that? I don't... Alright, guys and gals, I'm gonna go ahead and pause it right here. One of the hosts is making a full platter delicious English breakfast for us today, and oh, I can smell that meat a-sizzling from here. Anyway, it's about almost ready, and I am hungry, and I love you guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell. Leave a super thanks or a tip if you can, it always helps. Until the next video, I love you all. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye!